When you had that third failure in a row, did you think, I need to pack this in?
Never.
Why not?
I don't ever give up. I mean, I'd have to be dead or completely incapacitated.
So when everybody leaves, it's just Elon sitting at home, brushing his teeth. Just a bunch of ideas bouncing around your head.
Yeah.
Whew.
All the time.
When did you realize that that's not the case with most people?
I think when I was, 5 or 6 or something, I thought I was insane. Because it was clear that other people, their mind wasn't exploding with ideas. It was just strange. It was like, and strange.
I mean, just think of the various things you've been able to accomplish in a very short amount of time. And you're constantly doing this. You're a weird person, right?
I agree.
When I was in college, I thought about things that would most affect the future of humanity, and there were 3 areas that I thought would have the biggest impact, and those were the internet, sustainable energy, of which solar power is the production side and electric cars the consumption side, and then humanity becoming a multi-planet species.
No, this wasn't an easy one.
When my brother and I were starting our first company, instead of getting an apartment, we just rented a small office and we slept on the couch. And we showered at the YMCA, and we're so hot up we had just one computer. So the website was up during the day, and I was coding at night. 7 days a week, all the time.
You work hard.
And I sort of briefly had a girlfriend in that period, and in order to be with me, she had to sleep in the office. So, work hard, like, every waking hour. That's the thing I would say, particularly if you're starting a company.
Don't waste your time.
Well, all a company is a group of people that have gathered together to create a product or service. And so depending upon how talented and hardworking that group is, and the degree to which they are focused cohesively in a good direction, that will determine the success of the company. Rather than reasoning by analogy, you boil things down to the most fundamental truths you can imagine, and you reason up from there. And this is a good way to figure out if something really makes sense, or if it's just what everybody else is doing. It's hard to think that way. You can't think that way about everything. It takes a lot of effort. But if you're trying to do something new, it's the best way to think.
That makes sense.
2008 was brutal. 2008, we had the 3rd consecutive failure of the Falcon rocket for SpaceX. Tesla almost went bankrupt. We closed our financing round 6 p.m. Christmas Eve, 2008. It was the last hour of the last day that it was possible. We would have gone bankrupt 2 days after Christmas otherwise. And I got divorced. That was like rough, man.
That was the worst.
Yeah, I mean, SpaceX is alive by the skin of its teeth, so is Tesla. If things had just gone a little bit the other way, both companies would be dead. And I had, like, one of the most difficult choices I've ever faced in life was in 2008. I think I had maybe $30 million left, or $30 or $40 million left in 2008. And I had 2 choices. I could put it all into one company, and then the other company would definitely die, or split it between the 2 companies. But if I split it between the 2 companies, then both might die. When you put your blood, sweat, and tears into creating something, or building something, it's like a child. And so it's like, which one am I going to let one starve to death?
Not an easy choice.
I couldn't bring myself to do it, so I split the money between the 2. Fortunately, thank goodness, they both came through.
How much sleep do you get, by the way?
About 6 hours.
You do? 6 hours typically?
Yeah.
No, that's not bad. I thought it would be less.
I've tried less, but my productivity, even though I'm awake more hours, I get less done.
Okay.
The last time you were here, you spoke about this, what seemed like a kind of incredibly ambitious dream to develop rockets that are actually reusable. And you've only gone and done it. I mean, talk us
Finally,
us through this. What
took a long
are we
time.
looking at here?
It's a rocket.
Yeah, so this is one of our rocket boosters coming back from very high and fast in space. So it just delivered the upper stage at high velocity. I think this may have been a sort of a Mach 7 or so delivery of the upper stage.
So you've started a new company to do this called The Boring Company. Very nice, very funny. But
What's funny about that?
why are you boring?
Yeah, I ask myself that frequently. We're trying to dig a hole under LA, and this is to create the beginning of what will hopefully be a 3D network of tunnels to alleviate congestion. So, I mean, right now, I think one of the most soul-destroying things is traffic. It affects people in every part of the world. It takes away so much of your life, and it's horrible. So there are a couple of key things that are important in having a 3D tunnel network. First of all, you have to be able to integrate the entrance and exit of the tunnel seamlessly into the fabric of the city. So by having an elevator, sort of a car skate that's on an elevator, you can integrate the entrance and exits to the tunnel network just by using 2 parking spaces. And then the car gets on a skate. There's no speed limit here, so we're designing this to be able to operate at 200 kilometers an hour.
OMG, right?
Well, this illustrates the picture of the future that I think is how things will evolve. You've got an electric car in the driveway. If you look in between the electric car and the house, there are actually 3 power walls stacked up against the side of the house. And then that house roof is a solar roof. So that's an actual solar glass roof. We're very confident that a solar glass roof will be less than the cost of a normal roof plus the cost of electricity. So in other words, this will be economically a no-brainer. We think it'll look great. This is toughened glass, like well after the house has collapsed. And there's nothing there. The glass tiles will still be there. But eventually, if you say we were to fast forward to, say, 15 years from now, it will be unusual to have a roof that does not have solar. It depends on where you are and what the house size is relative to the roof area. Statements say that most houses in the US have enough roof area to power all the needs of the house.
Who is this guy?
You have to establish relevance, otherwise your mind will want to forget things. So our mind is constantly trying to forget as much as possible. So you'll only remember things if your mind can establish relevance or there's a strong emotional element to it. Otherwise, you're basically going to forget everything. Memory is very expensive from an evolutionary standpoint. You have to explain to kids why it's important. And then you want to teach to the problem instead of teaching the tools. So what I mean by that is, if you said, here's a car engine, we're gonna try to understand how this car engine works. We're gonna take it apart. So what do we need to do to take it apart? We need a wrench, we need some screwdrivers, we need a hoist and a pulley, and we're gonna take it apart and we're gonna see how it all works. That's engaging. And along the way, you learn about wrenches and screwdrivers and all the tools that are needed. That actually is engaging and compelling. But the way teaching more typically works is we're going to teach you a course on screwdrivers and a course on wrenches. And you're like, why do I have a course on wrenches? It's not obvious. That would be like, say, a course on calculus without explaining what calculus is used for. Then you forget it.
Oh my God, you're right.
The percentage of intelligence that is biological grows smaller with each passing month. Eventually, the percentage of intelligence that is biological will be less than 1%. So I think biological intelligence can serve as a backstop, as a buffer of intelligence. But almost all, as a percentage, almost all intelligence will be digital. So then, what role will there be for us? I don't know. I think it's very important that we build the AI in a way that is beneficial to humanity. And there's some important principles here, because I've thought about AI safety for a very long time. I think you want to have a maximum truth-seeking AI. This is very important. The AI should not be taught to lie. It should not be taught to say things that are not true. Even if those things are politically incorrect, it should still say what it believes to be true. So I think an AI that is truth-seeking, maximally curious, would foster human civilization to see where it goes.
It's hard for you because when you bought Twitter, you're kind of doing what you did when you took over, when you started Tesla. You lived at the factory. Twitter.
I was living in the library of Twitter for a while. I think things are reasonably stabilized right now. It was just on the fast track to bankruptcy after the acquisition, so I had to take drastic action. There wasn't any choice. My concern with Twitter was that it is somewhat of the digital town square, and it's important that there be both the reality and perception of trust for a wide range of viewpoints. And there was a lot of censorship going on. And we sort of uncovered a lot of that with the Twitter files, including a lot of government-driven censorship, which it seems that that's got to be a constitutional violation, what was going on there. But and I could, since I'm like an avid Twitter user, I could detect that like something's not right here, and so that's really why I did the acquisition. It wasn't because I thought this was an easy way to make money or something like that. This is me being mayor of Tweet Town, or whatever. It's definitely like there's a lot of arrows pointed at you, like flying at you.
Of course. But you seem to handle that okay. I hope you do, because look, I mean, geniuses are going to be a little quirky sometimes, but your heart is always in the right place. You were trying to fix this world.
There have to be reasons that you get up in the morning and you want to live. Like, why do you want to live? What's the point? What inspires you? What do you love about the future? And if we're not out there, if the future does not include being out there among the stars and being a multi-planet species, I find that it's incredibly depressing if that's not the future that we're going to have. The point is not to move from Earth to another planet and let Earth die. That's not what I'm saying at all. I want to be a multi-planet civilization so that we have planetary redundancy such that no single event can be the end of our civilization. The value of beauty and inspiration is very much underrated, no question. But I want to be clear, I'm not trying to be anyone's savior. I'm just trying to think about the future and not be sad. I think I feel fear quite strongly. So it's not as though I just have the absence of fear. I feel it quite strongly. But there are just times when something is important enough, that you believe in it enough, that you do it in spite of the fear. Like, people shouldn't think, oh, I feel fear about this and therefore I shouldn't do it. It's normal to feel fear. When starting SpaceX, I thought the odds of success were less than 10%, but that maybe we'd make some progress. If we could just move the ball forward, even if we died, maybe some other company could pick up the baton and keep moving it forward, so that we'll still do some good. Same with Tesla. I thought the odds of a car company succeeding were extremely low. In the long term, what we'd like to do is to establish a city on Mars and help make humanity a multi-planet species and a true spacefaring civilization.
Some, of course, would say this is far-fetched to go to Mars and be able to build a colony on this red star.
I'm not saying we will do it, I'm just saying we're going to try.